My name is Mike Crider, and I am principal at Southwestern Randolph Middle School. I had always had really good experiences in school, in middle school and especially in high school. And coming out of high school, I wrestled with what do I want to do, with my life. And so a couple things stood out. I was always interested in broadcast journalism, the sports side of radio, and not so much television because I don't have the face for that, but I enjoyed the radio talk, and so I actually went to college to start that. But 2 months in, I decided that I wanted to pursue education as a career instead. And I came out of college as a licensed social studies teacher, and I grew up in Ohio. I lived in Ohio for 23 years. So I moved down to North Carolina so I could start teaching. And I started my teaching career in Fayetteville, and I was a middle school social studies teacher. I taught 7th and 8th grade for a couple of years. And then after that, I met my future wife who was living in the area, and so we moved so that we could be closer to her family. And we got married in 2006, and so we moved north up to Rockingham County, and that's where her family lives at. And we continued our teaching careers. She's currently a high school English teacher, and I ended up roundabout way in Guilford County, and I entered a program called the Principal Fellows Program back in 2008, and it was I was essentially a full-time student for 2 years. I did a lot of my coursework on the front side of that the first year, and then my second year I did my internship at Grimsley High School in Greensboro, and spent a year there, and that was a very enlightening experience, being in the high school realm. That was my first real experience in student teaching, being in high school. And after I graduated from UNCG through the Principal Fellows Program, I was hired as an assistant principal at Kaiser Middle School in Greensboro, and I was there from 2010 until 2014. And I ended up as principal at Southwest Middle School, and it's been a very, very good experience for me at this point. The community here is fantastic. They really support the school in a lot of different ways. Obviously, I mean, when you're talking about middle school and high school, people are very proud of the athletic piece, but, it's also, we've got a lot of great things going on academically. A couple months ago, we inducted about 70 7th graders into Beta Club. We've got a lot of 6th graders coming up that I think are going to fall in that category as well. And I think it just shows the pride that people take in the school here. Our feeder schools, Seagrove and Southmont, just do such a fantastic job, and I've built a great relationship with Mr. Moss and Ms. Baber, just again with this being my first year here, and they've been very supportive in everything we've done. I mean, to the point where we're scheduling some things together. In March, we're going to be scheduling some parent nights for our rising 6th graders that are currently 5th graders at the elementary school. We're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to really getting our 5th graders into the school so that we can calm the fears a little bit about what middle school is about. But it's also been a joy to work with the high school as well, and to work with them as far as transitioning our current 8th grade students to the high school level. And again, it's just been a very positive experience for me. And having been an outsider to Randolph County, I didn't know necessarily what to expect, but it's been great. And I plan on being here for as long as I can, because I just enjoy the community, and I enjoy the school tremendously. I always tell people that in middle school there's no such thing as a typical day. That's kind of my line, even when I talk to potential teaching candidates. I always say, describe your typical day, even though that doesn't really exist. I guess as close as I can get at a typical day for me, when we get to school, obviously we're concerned about getting our students into the building safely, and so we have people that are supervising the cafeteria as kids come in off the buses, and we also have kids that are teachers that are supervising the gym for students who are car riders and come in the morning. And so at 7:50, I volunteer somebody to do the pledge every day, and we do our morning announcements at 7:50, and I try to let the community, as far as the students, know what's going on for that day and for the rest of the week. I like for students to be informed, and so that's why we take the time to do that. We really make a big push as administration to be in classrooms for at least 2 hours a day, and we try to reach that. There are days, obviously, when different things happen, but most of the time we're pretty successful with that. So we like to spend a lot of time in classrooms, and you know, as far as my typical day, I will spend some time in the cafeteria also during lunch with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade lunches. I'll be in there for that. Our 6th grade students eat lunch from about 10:55 until about 11:35, 11:40. Our 8th grade students eat lunch from 11:30 up until about 12:10, and then our 7th grade students eat lunch from about 12:05 until 12:45, and so we run staggered lunches. We have 4 60-minute core classes in math, science, social studies, and language arts, and students have 2 electives that they take. Those could range from PE, art, band, chorus, computer applications, and agriculture. And we've got, you know, we've even got a yearbook club that meets during lunch period on 2 days of the week. And so they are actively participating in developing the school yearbook, and we've even got a career choices class for our 6th grade students as well. And then we dismiss our car riders at 2:50, and we dismiss our bus riders at 3 o'clock. We do our afternoon announcements around 2:45. And then obviously everything in between is just what happens in the classroom, or, you know, talking with students. We really try to make a push to communicate with a lot of different students regarding a lot of different interests and issues that might be affecting them. You know, our guidance department is very active in that front, and of course, as administration, we try to be involved with that as much as possible. And I think the biggest key for us is just being in the classrooms and being an active participant. You know, if you go to other places in the world, you know, the principal is more referred to as the headmaster or the lead teacher in some cases. And I think that a principal is not just, you know, somebody who is the head of the school, so to speak, but I mean the principal is somebody who takes an active role in the education of the students. And I think that means if they're playing a game in class, get involved with it. You know, if you can add to a discussion that 8th grade students are having about the Constitution or something of that nature, I think that it means that you add to the experience wherever you can. And I think that your conversations with kids, you know, a lot of people have the perception about principals as it just being about discipline, maybe, but it's not that. As a matter of fact, most of the conversations I have with kids are not about behavior. It's about academics. It's about how's your day going? How's your experience here? How are you feeling? You know, I mean, we try to get a gauge for a lot of those different things because it's not just about doing discipline, and it's not just about grades. You know, my firm belief about school is that it helps develop a student socially, emotionally, and academically. And I think if we reach those 3 areas, then we've done our job. We've done a great service, and obviously one of our primary goals as a result of that is sending students to the high school that are going to be well prepared for life in the 21st century. I've always been a middle school fan. All of my teaching has been middle school, and I just enjoy the middle school aspect. For whatever reason, my personality lends itself to middle school kids. When I got out of college, I had envisioned myself as a high school teacher. I just always had, and I did student teaching in both middle school and high school, but I haven't taught a day of high school, and with the exception of my internship, I haven't been in a high school. All my experience has been middle school, and I've enjoyed it, and as a result, I get it, and I think that's where I am the most effective at. So I have no goals out at this point of moving to different levels. The thing I enjoy about middle school is that you get a taste of everything. You get to see students play sports, and it doesn't take up all of your time, but you do get to see students participate in athletics. You get to see students participate in band concerts, in chorus concerts. You get to see students showcase who they are, and you get to see students grow up in front of you. I often say that a student will change more in their 3 years of middle school than they will at any other point in their lives. And I think that's true not only from a physical standpoint, but it's true emotionally as well. We know when they get to high school and beyond that the brain develops and people become more of who they are. But I think in middle school you lay the framework for allowing kids to figure out who it is they want to be, and that it's okay to be that. And I think our job as a school is to build that. It's to build that sense of identity, and that you don't have to fit into a square peg. You can be who you want to be. Obviously, there's rules to follow, and I think people get that. But it's not about that. It's about seeing kids grow and develop. Kids have a lot to offer outside of just a grade, and they have a lot to offer in other arenas. And I think that if adults take a step back and they say, now wait a minute, I'm talented in this area, but I'm not so much in this area. I mean, I never ever had talent in art. I just never did. As much as I tried to draw, even to this day I draw stick figures. I can't make it work. And so I'm blown away by some of the art that our students can create. We had our art teacher, Ms. Jones, in her 8th grade classes created a mural in the cafeteria this year. And I mean, just the level of detail that's involved in that mural is it's fantastic. And what I love about it is that they have been able to put their stamp on the school. That will be there as long as I'm here, and I think that allowing kids to showcase what they can do, not just academically, because obviously that's the primary piece of school, but being able to showcase what they can do in other areas. Watching kids present, watching kids debate, watching kids ask questions, watching kids have conversations with other kids, with their peers about topics. And I mean, some of our social studies teachers do such a fantastic job of talking to students about current events. And I really think that that's an important piece too, because our students need to know what's going on around them, I mean, on a daily basis. What's going on in Randolph County is extremely important, but also what's going on in other parts of the world is also extremely important, and it can have an impact on the things that we talk about, the things that we do, and the things we learn about. I think one of the challenges of the principal position is just making sure that your priorities are always lining up, trying not to get bogged down with things that can be taken care of after school, and making sure that you're taking the opportunities to be in the classroom, again, barring those circumstances that you have to be a part of. I think that one of the biggest challenges is just making sure that you're keeping those priorities straight. And I would say another challenge for middle school is just, it's helping parents feel like they can have an active role in their middle school students' education. In elementary school, the parent piece, it's a given. I think, in my opinion, that parents know that they're welcome in elementary school. And I think part of that progression is natural. I think that you see you see middle schoolers and they want a little bit more independence away from their families or whatever. I think that's just a natural part of growing up. But I think that one of the challenges that we've taken on is trying to foster a culture, where it's okay for parents to come in and eat lunch with their students. It's okay for parents to come in and have a conversation with the principal that's not about behavior, and we've had some really productive conversations this year. We had a week in October where we invited some parents to come in and eat lunch with their students. We planned it around National School Cafeteria Week, and so we had a good percentage of parents come in and eat lunch with students, and that was a really cool thing to see. And we want to do something like that again in the spring. So I think those two things, and also just making sure that students don't lose their motivation to be learners, because I don't believe that a student is ever doomed to fail. I think that there's always an opportunity to reach a student. I think that the challenge that we face, though, is that we want to make sure that our kids that come to us in 6th grade have that same level of excitement on their last day of 8th grade, and that they take that with them to the high school, and that they take it beyond that, because those are the things that really, in my opinion, really determine if a student is going to be successful or not. If they're not done learning ever, when they go off to college, they are going to be asked to think for themselves a lot more. And so we're trying to start that process now, as far as the presentations I talked about earlier and the conversations that we have in class earlier. We want to encourage students to think for themselves. I mean, don't be afraid to ask a question. It's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to seek for answers also. But I would say those are the challenges we face, and I feel like as a school, I feel like we do a really good job of meeting those, and we want to continue to make progress in those areas. But at the end of the day, I think that our community sees, the way that we strive for excellence on a daily basis, and the motto, expecting excellence without exception, that's kind of the tagline that we've adopted, but it's the truth. I mean, at the end of 8th grade, when students are ready for high school and ready to move on, I want them to be able to say, I tried to be excellent every single day. And I think if they do that, and if they create those habits early, and they take those with them to the high school and beyond, there again, I think that we've achieved success at that point. I know I said it earlier, but I think that this is a fantastic area of the world. I mean, I think that the Southwest community really value their schools a lot, and it's a great thing to be a part of a community like that. A community that really gets behind their schools and really wants to support them in whatever aspect that they need support. I've had a lot of positive conversations with parents and with staff members and with students this year, and schools are always going to face challenges. There's never going to be a day when schools don't face challenges, whether it's a budget issue, whether it's there's different things that are going on all the time that are at play. At the end of the day, Southwestern Randolph Middle School is always going to be there to do whatever we can to help a student grow academically, socially, and emotionally. And we want to see all of our students be successful. We're not interested in a percentage of students being successful. We are interested in every one of our students achieving success in some fashion. And we all know that success takes different forms. But at the end of the day, I want students to walk out of Southwestern Randolph Middle School after they've been here for 3 years saying, I did the very best I could to become the best I could be. And again, it's all about those habits. It's about us as staff members and adults in the building. It's about us fostering those habits, and it's about students taking ownership of those habits by the time they leave us, and taking those habits with them to high school and beyond, whether it's to join a career, to join the military, to go off to college. I mean, there's several different options for students after school. I just hope that whatever arena they choose to go into, that they carry those habits with them.